Hey there, fan horrors, Billy here. I just wanted to let you know that this week's guest is stand-up comedian Daniel Sloss. Daniel Sloss has a 2-part stand-up special on Netflix called Live Shows. One's called Dark, one of them is called Jigsaw. They're super funny, super great. I just wanted to say Daniel Sloss is on the podcast this week because I have a guest co-host in this week's intro, Rosa Escandon. And we got a little silly. And so just in case you're listening, thinking like, oh yeah, Daniel Sloss. And then it's just me and Rosa. And you're like, what, is Daniel even on this thing? Yes, he is. So just don't quit so soon. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. But we get a little goofy in the intro. And you're welcome. Duh. Now let's go do the thing. The Man Horror Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. Want to spice up your anniversary, honeymoon, or just time away from the kids? Book your next exciting Mexican vacation or cruise at Desire Resorts. Begin your journey to paradise at manwhorepod.com/desire. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Horror Podcast.
One, two, three. Black
Roma.
Panther. Oh, Roma?
Wait, the one that we think will do it, or the one we think?
So we want to win?
Oh, okay. So we were shouting which one. I miss. Here's the thing: the one that I want to win, is not nominated. There's no way.
One?
I'm all in on 8th grade. 8th grade should have won the Oscar. So out of the ones nominated, I guess Roma. I guess that's what I'm going with.
Okay. I don't like watching movies with subtitles, so I haven't watched it.
Try speaking Spanish.
Have
you tried maybe doing that instead?
Wait, it sounds like you also want me to have empathy for others and just
So hard to be empathetic these days with politics. We're doing a little bit of hey whoreheads.
Whoreheads! I love it! Whoreheads!
We're talking a little bit about what we talked about on the Patreon only. Not the Oscars. We did not mention the Oscars. I should have. I'm surprised I did it on a day like today.
On a day like today.
The Oscar day.
Mm-hmm. I love whoreheads. How has that never come up in the last 5 years? That's great. Gonna steal and trademark that.
You've never said whoreheads on the podcast?
No. Never.
Just me?
We call them fan whores.
Yeah, fan whores, yeah. I forgot it for a sec. I was like, I know what they call them.
How dare you? Well, that empathetic but clearly forgetful voice you're hearing is the wonderful Rosa Escandon, everybody.
Oh, hell yeah, she's back. This time with a vengeance.
She's back with more trauma. No,
I'm mad at Billy because he only lets me come on the show when he's like, oh, can you talk about like rape stuff? And then he's like, oh, Rosa's talking about rape all the time.
Because I ask you to come on and talk about rape stuff because you talk about rape all the time.
So it's kind of like a chicken and egg situation.
It's your brand.
That's such a terrible brand. Why is this my brand?
I don't know. Talk to your manager.
We're just giving you a little peek into what we talked about on the Patreon exclusive episode today. Ooh, see, I'm doing the intro now.
Yeah,
I'm the captain now.
Tatum.
An Oscar winner.
That was an Oscar-winning
yes.
line. Yes, Rosa's back. We just recorded a wonderful bonus episode that comes out tomorrow for the Patreon people at the $5 level, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that after that really loud honk.
I live by a hospital.
We'll talk a bit more about that in a bit, but first,
get them hot, get them dates, show dates.
All right, people. So March 1st, I'm going to be at Karma Lounge at 7:30. It's a free comedy show. Then March 28th, I'm in a one-liner joke competition in Brooklyn. Location to be announced, but you can at least lock that date out when you want to come see me. Also, we've got ManWhoreCon is returning, everybody. August 2nd through August 4th. Start planning out how to get that paid time off of work. Start making travel arrangements. You know, start just debating with with your husband, like who you're going to get to watch the kids. Figure it out. I'm giving you so much lead time because we're going to be having a blast here in New York City. Block out that date. Weekend passes will be going on sale very, very soon. Last but certainly not least, we got Tour de Man Whore. You want to bring the Man Whore podcast live show experience to a city near you? Well, I don't want to hear you complain until you've bought your pre-sale discounted tickets at manwhorepod.com/tour. Well, Rosa, so we talked about Daniel Sloss's show, and we don't need to go too much into it, but we can talk a bit about the masculinity aspect.
Yeah, it's a cool show. I think we both saw it, and I was super arrested by it. You were super arrested by it. I think it's definitely worth a see. There's not that many dates left in New York.
Yeah, I think by the time you hear this, he will no longer be in New York City, but he will be touring other cities in the States before he goes back across the pond. And of course, you can find out where those are at danielsloss.com. But yeah, it was really cool hearing another dude who kind of looks like me talk about this stuff. Other dudes who aren't writing like a think piece talking about this like at fellow guy level. Like they're not using high-end vocabulary. They're just kind of talking to dudes where they're at.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important thing is like we need to start letting people be where they are and meeting them there rather than forcing everyone to have like feminism 401 level education.
I took the show very differently, but I'm glad that you're going to talk to him about it because I saw the show and I was like, this is feminism 401.
Yeah.
I think the stuff that comes up in this show is like, not all of it. I mean, there's some really, just like funny ass period jokes or whatever. Like, fine. That's not probably part of my 401 class, but I do think that there is some stuff in here and like the conversations that come out of it, which will get you into, Feminism 401, a class that definitely does not exist anywhere.
I think it's Feminism 101 in a way. I think he really is meeting the men in the audience where a lot of them might be at.
Yeah. I think that might be. I think there's ways to understand this piece, and what I actually kind of liked about it is there's different levels of understanding it, and I think a lot of men understood it at level 1, which is good. For them, I guess, good job, idiots. Yeah, I'm going on the record.
Jesus.
Jesus. It's like, why did we ask her back? Anyway. No, but I think that a lot of people will kind of just see it and like see it for what it is. Like I definitely walking out of the theater saw a lot of guys who were just like joking around and like being like, it didn't arrest them in the same way it arrested me. And I know some other people who saw it. So like, I think there's a valley of how you feel about this show and what you take away from it. But I took away from it a lot. I took away, I think, some interesting stuff that will haunt me forever, actually. I look right into Billy's eyes as I say that, seeing how uncomfortable he'll get.
I'm not uncomfortable. I'm
Not
just like, when we turn the mics off, I'm going to ask you like what that was.
Oh no, I'm just being a dick. I think it's a haunting show, but no, I won't. I'm fine.
I tried to have a sincere moment, and you were just being a dick. Okay, that's
most of
me. Write that
though.
down in my fake notes. Okay, my very full page
you
of
have
fake notes.
full page of notes in front, and for you to say those are fake notes, I don't know what real notes are.
Hotmovies.com.
Ooh, hot movies.
Get them hot.
Get them movies. Hey, which hot movie do you think would win the Oscar this year?
Oh my God. Do you think they have porn parodies of any of the Oscar nominees right now?
I hope so.
Do you have your computer?
Spoofs and parodies. Oh, there's 1,282 porn parodies on hotmovies.com.
Yes, there are.
Oh my God, many. I love it.
I want to see if there's any that are like mimicking, making fun of.
Inglourious Bitches, already amazing.
Anything that's like Oscar nominated.
Scooby-Doo. Did they not change the name of the Scooby-Doo porn parody?
So you can say it's Scooby-Doo if you then say a XXX parody. Like you have to actually like change the title to like Loose Times at Ridley High.
Loose Times at Ridley High sounds. It's from the 80s.
I bet you
they do
Black
have a
Panther
Roots
one.
Parody.
Can't Be Roots XXX
X parody that just came up. That's bad.
Well, we don't know if it's bad. I'm nervous.
Probably
bad. Black Panther does not come up with a Black Panther porn parody, but does come up with a lot of
movies
for Black Panther.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. There's a.
Go back to the first page where I think we had most of the Black Panther hits. We had Black Panthers number 2, Black Panthers number 4, Black Panthers 3, which is not titled number 3, but 3.
3D, hopefully. I hope that's the naming convention.
It's an AVN nominee.
Oh, for Best Ethnic Movie.
Yeah, Black Panther MILFs 2 and 3. So go to hotmovies.com, use promo code MANWHORE. You get 20 minutes on top of any package you sign up for. I highly recommend the Who's Becky scene from games we play. Before I get to my guest this week, Daniel Sloss, we're going to do a real quick fan whore appreciation moment. Okay. This is the part of the podcast where I like to thank a couple of my official fan whores from the Patreon community. What's up to y'all? I want to say thank you for your support, and I hope you're enjoying all those wonderful rewards. Want to give a shout out right now to Robert Brannon. Robert Brannon. Who's Robert Brannon to you when you hear Robert Brannon?
Robert Brannon. He is the CEO of a company that was big in the 80s and is still doing okay today. He lives in, I'm going to say, Seattle, smaller market, but that's what he likes. He has a family. He drives a sensible but expensive car. He's Robert Brannon.
How does he treat his employees?
Pretty well, actually. Yeah. Here's the thing. He's been on the board for a long time and he actually cares about the people. I know he's already made it to the rank of CEO, but he does care about his employees and kind of like, are they doing okay? Because Seattle's getting more expensive these days.
What about profit sharing?
Doesn't do profit sharing though. That's a little too new because remember, he's been around the block a couple of times. He believes still though of promoting from within. So once you get up to a certain level, you are going to get stock options.
That's great. That's really good to hear. Robert Brannon, I hope we were kind of close to describing you. But I am glad that you are a member of our community. Also want to give a shout out to Matt and Christine. Hey, when am I getting invited to those swinger parties? I'm right here. I'm so close to you. I should have an invite.
Matt and Christine, I hope that the swinger parties have like a bowl of keys. Like I hope it's like in a 70s looking kind of room. I hope you lean in on that one.
Well,
invite me, not Billy.
Well, shout out to Matt and Christine. Shout out to Robert. Shout out to all my fan whores in my Patreon communities, the Peep Show, the Champagne Room. Y'all are the folks who help keep this show going. You can become a member too today for as little as $1 per month. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Oh, before I get to Daniel Sloss, Rosa, where can people find you?
Oh, wow.
Where can the whoreheads find you?
Where my whoreheads at? You can find me at rosaescandon.com. That's ESCANDON. Is the last name. Rosa is spelled like how you would think it would be spelled, you idiot. And it's so aggressive.
Yeah.
And
you're asking them to check you out, you monster.
Yeah. That was me being metal. Could you tell?
What's happening?
And also at Human Comedian on social media.
And now, Daniel Sloss, everybody.
My mum bought me a fake ID so I could do mine. Like that joke out of that sentence out of a porn star's mouth is just sad and highly illegal.
What was it? It was in I forget if it was Dark or Jigsaw. We were talking about the supportive parents, and I'm like, oh, how dare he just have like such?
Yeah. My parents are disgustingly fucking supportive. They're over on I think Friday as well.
Yeah.
One of the days, yeah.
You started crazy young, no?
Me and my dad will argue about whether it's 16 or 17. I'll say 17. He says 16.
Well, because the 16 then becomes more impressive for him as the father.
Yeah.
My son started at 16.
Yeah. It's exactly like it's the difference of like I did do a gig when I was 16, but I don't count it as a gig because it was like to fucking 11 or 12 people, and it was like part of a comedy course thing. It was just like I don't agree that it was a fucking comedy show. Whereas the first one I did when I was 17 was at the Stand Comedy Club in Edinburgh, which is like a real fucking comedy club. So that's where my heart lies. And also at this point, I think regardless of whether I started at 16 or 17, that my career's been fairly fucking impressive.
Yeah.
It no longer matters which age it was started at.
I saw the show Sunday with a comedy buddy of mine, and we were both like, 17, this motherfucker. Do you get a little bit of that from people when they find out like the age?
I did a lot when I was younger. I did, people have been like, walking on stage or talking to people have been like, but it was more people, the kind jealousy that I find you get amongst comedians a lot of the time is my favorite type of jealousy where, it's like I do it all the time. If somebody ever comes up with a joke that I think is genius, I'll go, oh, fuck you for coming up with that.
Right.
I wanted that. But there was a lot of the friendly sort of banter from older comics being like, but just like, fuck you for starting so young. I wish I had started young. Yeah.
It's a way of saying like you're incredible for how young you are or whatever.
Yeah, it was always complimenting. And look, I enjoy fucking ribbing, man. I love fucking making fun of people and being made fun of. I think it's part of, as long as it's, I love that sort of shit. So I never took any of the insults growing up fucking personally.
So then you must dig the roast battle culture that's been growing.
A
fad I thought would have ended years ago.
I am the only undefeated roaster from the UK TV series.
Oh?
Yeah. It's only been two. There's only been two. 3 seasons now. First season I beat Desiree Birch, and the last season I beat Phil Wang. So undefeated.
Did that just come naturally to you? Just the gross insults?
It's the one fucking thing where I went to my agent and I was like, get me on that fucking show. Like, I'm not good at panel shows because one, I enjoy watching panel shows, so I just laugh when I'm there. Like, I'm not political. Like, I couldn't give a fuck about. Well, I mean, I do give a fuck. I'm not a voice on politics, so I don't respect my own opinion on politics. So I wouldn't fucking offer it out there for people to hear. I think it would be unnecessary information for people to have if they knew my political affiliations, seeing as they're grounded in almost nothing.
Yeah.
So political stuff and panel shows I'm just not that good on. And there's other sort of shows that you get in the UK where they want you to come on and be a personality, and I'm not good at those. Like, I don't want to be a fucking I'm a comedian. I don't want to be known for, well, let's just hear what his thoughts are on anything. It's like, nah, I'm a fucking comedian.
My thought is the funniest thing I can think of right now on this topic.
Yeah. Whereas with roast battle, I'm like, that is me to a fucking T. Like, I'm a big fan of horrific insults. Really, really trying your hardest to upset your friends with jokes is absolutely what I was put on this planet to do.
Well, you described like the WhatsApp conversation you have with your buddies, and oh my, that's just.
I tend to fight, and here's one of my many shit opinions that aren't grounded in any evidence, but it's an opinion in progress sort of thing. People that get offended by jokes don't have any friends. And I truly believe I believe that if you get offended by comedy, it's because you didn't have friends growing up, which is sad, and I understand that, but it's like part of like camaraderie, especially male camaraderie in itself, is just insults all the fucking time, every sec, and that does come from fucking toxic masculinity of trying. But for me, I don't think it's a dangerous form of toxic masculinity. If everyone knows it's a joke, if everyone knows it's done as banter, and you do, like, men aren't as stupid as we fucking claim they are. We understand, you can see when somebody takes a joke badly as a man, like, so you can understand when to be like, all right, okay, you took that a little bit personally. Me and my friends, we know that we've got some friends more sensitive than other friends, so we'll go, right, take the fucking pedal off. Like, they can't give as good as they can't take as good as they give, sort of thing. I love verbally abusing and in text all my fucking friends, because it keeps you grounded, and it's great practice for joke writing as well, and there's so much to it. And I just think if you didn't have any friends growing up, you never got insulted, and you never understood that insults didn't have to be personal and cruel. Like, they could be personal and cruel, but the intent to hurt wasn't behind it. People who have no friends, whenever they hear an insult, they've only heard it from bullies, so they always associate insults as bullying, as opposed to where I was raised with my family, which is insults are compliments. Insults are like funny little things to sort of, not necessarily keep you in line, but, everyone's fair game. Like, in my family, I would never shout at my mum or never shout at my dad because they're my parents. But the one bit that was allowed to transcend age was jokes and making fun of each other. So it's, as I said, it's an opinion in progress. And that's all. Bullying does exist. And that's the fucking problem with it. It's like, the thing I've always said, this is a scientific study that I first heard on Shane Moss's podcast, which is great if you get the chance to listen to, and it's where laughter comes from. The lowest form of animal that can laugh is the English, but then after that, it's rats. It's my favorite line. Basically, the scientists worked out that if you scratch a rat on its belly, it lets out a sort of shrieking noise, and it's the rat laughing, right? And the reason it's laughing is because normally if a rat was on its back and something was to attack its belly, that's the most dangerous position a rat can be in, right? That's a fucking eagle, that's a dog, that's a cat, it's about to fucking kill it. Whereas tickling the rat on the belly is a safe violation of the thing. Like, normally this thing is a horrific death thing, but now it's such a minor version of that thing that it's funny.
Yeah.
And that to me is what most comedy is it's a safe version of the horrible thing. Like, you make like people always say to you, do you find the Holocaust funny? And you go, no, I absolutely don't. It wasn't funny. but I find jokes about the Holocaust funny because those are jokes about the Holocaust. There's such a difference between me laughing at the thing and me laughing at jokes about the thing.
My favorite quote on that, Jim Jeffries. There are things that I think, and there are things that I think are funny to say.
Exactly that.
Favorite line. That's my new defense to any fucking blogger who tweets at me like, you said what? And I'll be like, it's not real.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a fugazi.
I say things that I absolutely do not mean. And the reason I say them is because of, wouldn't it be funny if I held this opinion? And that's it. And so, and it's a safe violation. I'm like, people who deny the Holocaust happening are the worst people in the world. Like, I find it an abhorrent, horrific opinion to have. Anyone that holds that opinion truthfully, for me, they need to be punished and stuff. Well, I mean, let's not get into how I think they should be dealt with. That's not necessary. But I think it's a horrific opinion to have. That being said, if somebody's playing a fucking character, if they're playing an idiot, it's a horrible opinion to hold, so I'm going to pretend to hold it for the sake of this joke. That's why that's a safe violation of the horrible thing. Yeah. So with bullying, as I understand, when I say no friends, I didn't mean that to be like, oh, you've got no friends. Right. Because again, I understand how that comes across. I just mean in the sense, if you don't have fucking friends that pick on you, if you don't have friends to teach you that, the way I found out all my flaws was my friends making fun of them, and it wasn't cruel. My friends would sort of be like, because if they go fucking big nose, big lips, fucking stupid voice, whatever, I get all this stuff, and I get a bit self-conscious about them, and then I just be like. Then when people started actually insulting me for them, I'm like, oh, I don't give a shit.
I already know.
Like I've heard and I've heard them from friends. So like nothing you can say can actually hurt me now.
And they were comics, so I heard the funniest version of the insult you're trying to do.
Exactly, yeah. But even if your friends aren't that fun, like if it's people build. It's like that Tyrion line in fucking Game of Thrones. Like if you wear your weakness as armor, no one can hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think your friends teach you to do that. And that's why I think sometimes I've had this argument with my girlfriend on several occasions. Like the reason she's a bit more sensitive, I'm like, because you were raised around girls, and girls are nicer to each other because just girls are nicer. Like they can be bitchy, but like that's where their jokes go in, like behind chat, whereas male is just upfront horribleness to each other. So I don't know, maybe again, all opinions and sort of progress sort of thing. Yeah. But I just think camaraderie and stuff really teach you to not take jokes as seriously, because it's like my friends have said horrible things to me, truly horrible, disgusting things about my sister, and I can't imagine how I'd feel if I thought they meant that. Because there's no part of me that goes, oh, you meant those words that came out of your mouth. Like you sincerely, that's what blows my mind about people who go to comedy shows, is they just sit there and be like, he means every single word he's saying. Like I've come to see a comedian tell jokes, he must mean every word. But I notice people get at my show when I just say, I've got a line in my show where I say, oh, I'm talking to a female friend of mine, and I say, why don't you speak when spoken to? How about that? Yeah. Because that's a horrific opinion to have. And I don't hold it. So isn't it funny if for a brief moment I pretend to be the asshole that has that opinion? That's the joke.
And it's also funny that they all then paid to potentially have seen a person with this terrible opinion.
Terrible opinion. But that's when we then get into the problem of where does my responsibility end to explaining to my audience? Like, I love Jim Jeffries. I think Jim Jeffries is one of the best comedians, but I also understand that I think Jim Jeffries is a highly fucking intelligent comedian. I think his gun control routine is one of the second to none. His bit on anti-vaxxing, over the years, the way Jim Jeffries is able to dissect an argument and defeat it at every single step of the way while still keeping you laughing is something I think a lot of comics should aspire to. I think he is a genius. That being said, I do think that some of his fans are idiots, and they'll hear him occasionally make a joke which isn't necessarily where he's making fun of women, and they just take it at face value of Jim Jeffries hates women, which he doesn't. I know Jim, he absolutely does not, but that's what they take it as, and that's the sort of, I don't know, it's always a difficult thing of like, how much do I have to fucking explain to my audience which bits are jokes and which aren't.
And it really should be when you walk into something as a comedy performance. And because sometimes I'm immersed in comedy world, and then like the sex positive, super sensitive world, right? And some people will ask me like, what, you think comedians should have different rules? And I'm like, yes, precisely. We should have very different rules from all the other performances. And when you walk through that door and it says comedy, you can take the benefit of the doubt, give the benefit of the doubt that this comes from a place of humor and not hate. There doesn't mean there are comedians who aren't hateful. There's Nick DiPaolo's out there doing his thing, calling teenage girls cunts on Twitter. But like, generally we can.
Who's Nick DiPaolo?
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. That's perfect.
Who is he?
He's a comic who's like part of that kind of Anthony Cumia like shock. He's super Republican, pretty blatantly racist in the more recent years. He had like a Comedy Central Presents. I mean, in the States, he's like a known comic, and he's a good comic. He's a good comic who's a racist and piece of shit.
Oh fuck! I'll need to remind me to Google him after this, just because I might know him. I don't want to be one of those. I fucking hate people who are like that. Been like, no, I've never heard of him.
I thought that's what you were doing. I was like, that would have been great.
No, I fucking man. I hate people that like just pretend to not know popular things because that's their personality trait. Like I posted a picture of fucking me and Conor McGregor. Because I've met him like 2 years ago and I posted it, and just immediately there's this woman I'm friends with on Facebook being like, I don't know who that is, and I'm like, that doesn't make you interesting. It doesn't make you interesting to not know things. It's not a personality trait to not know pop culture. Like you're being a hipster, and everyone hates those. So why don't you fucking stop that? So I didn't mean to be like, oh, I've never heard of him. I just haven't fucking heard of him.
It was sad because like, you know, he's a comic who like I remember his CC Presents in probably like 02, 03 when I was in, you know, when we were in like grade school. I'm the same age as you.
So he's just gone full fucking Republican and racist and whatnot. Apparently
he's always been Republican. He's just been a little bit more blatant about his racism and like shitty points of view. Like do you remember the Parkland thing? It's one of our many school shootings.
Yes. Yeah.
So he tweeted a photo of some of the Parkland survivors who were women who were on the front page of a magazine. They all had their fists up in the air, and he just like, fuck these dumb cunts and their Black Power salute. One of them was a 12-year-old girl. Yeah. And it's just like, dude, what the fuck? Like it wasn't even structurally funny, because he did do a reply tweet where at least there was joke structure. He said like, if this wasn't like the worst ad for like deodorant or something. I was like, okay, at least it's like joke structure. Yeah, it was
actually a punch.
The other thing is like, you're just calling teenage girls cunts and you're an asshole. And it just sucks to see like someone you look up to, like, or not looked up to, but you thought, oh, I thought that guy was funny. Yeah. And then you find out, oh, this is a piece of shit. It's like finding out about Cosby.
Yeah. No, yeah, okay. I can see that. I'll Google him after this and I can see if I can recognize his fucking face.
Have you had anyone where you kind of looked up to that you were just like heartbroken finding out the truth about them?
Yeah, CK broke my heart, man. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I'm not. I enjoyed his stand-up for years. Like, I really, really did. And yeah, what he did and the way, I also not a big fan of the way he dealt with things. That broke my heart a bit. But then again, how much of that's fucking, you know. Oh, no, it is on him. I was about to say how much of that's... well, because it's using CK for my next point is a bad example, is all I mean. So I
just like how your opinion is in progress even just in the moment.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. That's why I don't like commenting on a lot. Like, people always ask me the opinions. I'm like, I don't know yet. Like, I'm like, it takes me a while to arrive at a fucking conclusive opinion, man. Like, I really do like to like consider all sides and like hear from different fucking people before I fully cement where I'm on the camp. But people...
Very un-American of you.
Yeah, but people don't want that anymore. They want a fucking bite-sized clip out of your opinion. It's like, nothing's black and white. Everything is fucking grey, man. Everything is so complex, and you have to like, you know, really think things through to, you know, if I'm gonna fucking firmly stick my flag in the ground to somewhere, I've got to know who my fucking teammates are. Like, I've got to be able to defend my point at all times, because I don't like losing arguments, man. Like, I don't. So I want to make sure I'm always right. Yeah. Because up until now, I've always been right. And so I would hate to ruin the spree. But the problem nowadays with the world we live is something happens and people want you, like, what's your reaction to this? And you go, okay, here's my reaction to this. And then the story changes and they go, but you said this. And you're like, yeah, but then the evidence changed. So my opinion fucking changed. Like, no. And this happens on both sides. Both the right and the left 100%. Are fully, yeah.
I think it's more on the left, to be, if I'm being honest with you.
This is what the one thing is, that being left wing is, it's just horrible to know that I'm going to die on the losing side. Because the problem, I used to have a joke about this, but it was basically the reason the right will win and the reason the right will continue to win forever is because the right wing do not care how far right wing you are. They're just happy you joined it. Right? They'll be like, do you want to be tough on immigration? And they're like, yeah. Like, okay, do you want to be against gay marriage? And they're like, fuck yeah. You want to be against abortion? Fuck yeah. Also, do you hate the blacks? No. Well, you're still in. They don't care.
We'll work on it.
Yeah. We'll work on it. Or even that, they're just like, well, okay. And those centre right people are probably looking at those ones being like, fuck, I hate those people in the same way that I hate the far left. But in the same thing, with the left wing, if you are not as far left wing as the person you're talking to, you're a Nazi. That's it. That's just the rules. If you are not as far left as I am, you're the rest of the far right. Every person in the left goes, I am center left. Nobody thinks they're far left. Nobody thinks that. They sit there and go, I'm center left. Anyone fucking over there is right wing, and that's it. And I fucking hate you. And it's like being in fucking World War II and just shooting down your own ranks constantly. And like the fucking Nazis are over there, man.
Yeah.
And again, when I say Nazis, that's purely for the euphemism. I did not mean to call right wing people Nazis.
But the Nazis are.
But even though the right wing, but the Nazis are exclusively on the far right wing. But
yeah, it's a numbers game. I mean, we're in a war right now. We're in a culture war, and you need bodies. And it's like, so like the sex pos world, it's like all of like, are you down with this thing? It's like if you have the wrong opinion on they them pronouns, it's like there's no room to learn about it.
Man, and
then it's like we need to let people learn and have evolving opinions. Because the difference between someone being like fuck this and like I don't understand this.
Yeah, I got like I know for a fact I got a lot of blind spots. I have my friends, because I've got friends who are way more liberal than I am, and at points they'll just tell me, they'll just go, they're like, that's a blind spot for you, and I go, is it? Like I didn't, when it comes to the pronoun stuff, I still get confused about it, because I actually don't. I know one trans person. And I've not really had an in-depth discussion with her about any of the stuff yet. So I don't know everything about it. So a lot of my opinions are like with the pronoun thing. I understand why it's the other types of pronouns. It's just not the he, she. It's the they, these stuff. But I've not met someone from that walk of life. So I don't have an opinion on it yet. Because I've heard the shouts and the screams, and I've read the fucking headlines, and I know what my initial reaction is, but I'm not going to stand firmly in the stance of that. I'm going to wait until I meet someone who comes from that walk of life that can explain it to me and actually have a discussion, and a discussion that doesn't happen online or over a podcast or anything like that. I want to be in a discussion with this person so I can just go, right, here's how ignorant I am on fucking everything, right? Yeah. And I'm sorry, but that's. Well, I also don't think I should necessarily have to apologize for all ignorance. It's like, I've not been taught everything. And sometimes you meet somebody who comes from an entirely different world and a different fucking background, and I can't imagine what it was like to be trans, man. Like I was born. I love my body, man. I was born a fucking identified. That makes
only one of us,
man. I identify with having a dick, and I identify with being fucking straight up in a fucking straight man sense. But don't get me wrong, I'll admit when a man is gorgeous. Like I'm not one of those fucking proper hetero men where they refuse to acknowledge the fact that some men are absolutely stunning. I've got a thing for black men. I think that just a big chocolate man does something for me. but with the other stuff, I've always felt comfortable with my body, and I've always felt comfortable with my sexuality. So I've not struggled with any of that. I've not lived in a world where I wasn't made to feel good with that. So I'm ignorant on what I don't know what it's like to be trans, and I'm not going to ever claim that I do. I don't. It's something I don't doubt, but I want to listen so I can understand, because it's fine fucking reading articles, and it's fine listening to podcasts, but when you talk to someone who comes, that we live in a world where we're stopping people being human. The fact that everything's on the internet, there's no humanity left in it. Like that's why people are so cruel online, because you don't get to see the face of the person.
You don't have to yell at person, you're yelling at an avatar.
Yeah, you're just and I think it's destroying empathy. I remember a long time ago, and it's in me. I'm not fucking better than people. I remember when Xbox Live first fucking came out.
Oh right? God,
we're talking 2011. Unreal Tournament 2000 was the game for that. I got one of the first ever Xbox Live accounts ever. My name on it is, and to this day, is Danny S. No numbers, no fucking symbols. That's how early into Xbox Live I was.
Why couldn't you get Danny?
I know, that's fair. Yeah, there was some. I don't think I tried. I think I was just like, it was, I was 11. I didn't have the creativity.
You ever see someone on Twitter? They're just like at Nina, and you're like, how'd you get that?
Yeah, fucking great.
Who'd you pay?
Yeah. Man, there is websites where people pay for those ones. There's a really great Reply All episode on it. So, but I remember playing online for the first time and just going, wow, I've got this ability. And for the first 3 games, I was like, wow, I'm playing with this guy from America, and we're on the same team, and we're fighting against these guys, and this guy's the guys from fucking Nigeria, and we're all playing together. This is amazing. It took 5 games before that descended into me yelling horrible things at the stream because they couldn't see my face and I couldn't see theirs, and I wasn't going to be held accountable for anything I fucking said. I was 11. I could say whatever I want for 0 fucking consequence, and I don't just mean like no consequences legally. I mean visually there were no consequences. I heard somebody shouting, but it's a very different fucking thing to sit down and insult someone to their face and see the hurt that you caused. I think most people, if you were to take them and put what they said online and sit them down across from a human being, say what you typed to that person, then how they say it is the difference between night and day, because there's that human interaction there. And I think that's why I think Twitter is, and all these other fucking things, is cancerous. Why I don't stay on them too much, just because it's not the place to have any discussion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's something that like when I was watching Jigsaw, like maybe in like December, I'm like, I was on like a plane, so I was like, okay, I can't finish this right now, but like I need to come back to this because like I rarely see dudes who kind of look like me, in better shape, but look like me, kind of sound like me, and have a similar opinion, who like address toxic masculinity. And I think in that one, like you kind of like almost hint at it and don't even say the phrase. And
it's like that was when Jigsaw was written. I didn't know what toxic masculinity was.
But exactly, but you kind of still had an idea what it was without knowing that this was like something that there's think pieces about.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I found it awesome because like it's hard to find dudes. That's why I don't get along with dudes.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching the show and you're talking about your group of dudes in the WhatsApp, and I'm just like, oh, that must be fun to have guy friends.
Oh man, it's like it's as much as it is fun. Like it's fucking. I enjoy it for the stupidity. Like I like the fact that we're all fucking primates trying to be top gorilla, and I like that fucking stupid competition between each other, and when it doesn't matter. But like, there's been so many stubborn times. Here's the epitome of how stupidity toxic masculinity is. But one of the reasons I still find it endearing, and this is again exclusively the toxic masculinity I'm dealing with. There's other worse forms out there. Sure. This is not meant to be a blanket statement, obviously, as with all the other caveats I have to do with every fucking statement.
I really hope my audience, like you guys, after 255 episodes of me, I hope you guys have picked up on that.
But again, it's just this fear of living in this. All it takes is one person to take one fucking clip, cut off the start, cut off the, and nobody cares about the context or content anymore. Context, yeah, it was right the first time. Nobody gives a fuck about the context. They want the outrage, they want the headline. That's what sells. We go on lads' holidays every year. Now, what our lads' holidays consist of is just going on to other countries and taking heaps loads of drugs in a fucking villa and just having fun, being idiots. You know, most of us are in relationships or whatever, so it's never, we're not going out to get later. It's just like, let's go take a bunch of drugs, party like fuck, go in the sea, do whatever we're going to do. We call it the sesh because we're stupid, toxic men, and that's what it is. It's a competition, and but it's just me and my friends. We're just having banter around a fucking table and being idiots, and it's all about who can drink the most or who can smoke the most, and it's so stupid because none of it matters. But just that healthy little bit, unhealthy competition I find funny. I remember at one point it was 9 a.m. and fucking 6 of the boys had gone to bed, and it was 7 of the boys had gone to bed. It was just me and 2 of my friends left, and I was like, boys, it's 7 a.m. We're going to be up in 4 hours to go to the water park. I respectfully bow out. And I stood up, and one of my friends just went, pussy, just as a joke. And it was so clearly a fucking joke. But and I just went, okay. And I sat back down again. So we're hyper aware of it, but we're still doing it. That, to me, again, it's the safe version of toxic masculinity. Like, it's not, I don't have friends that fucking genuinely belittle me about things. Like, there's, we'll make fun of each other for stuff, but, I also love the fact that my really toxic guy friends, well, not toxic, because they're not, sorry, but my guy friends, my big fucking British guy friends, are the ones, if I'm going through emotional problems, are the first people I call. Like, they are there. Like, these big, brutish fucking men who, do heaps of drugs and drink loads of booze and just have stupid competitions with me, are the same big dumb idiots that hug me when I cry and don't make me feel bad for crying. And, if I go through heartbreak or whatever, they're there for me. And I know in a group setting, I probably wouldn't, I wouldn't cry in front of all 9 of them because then I'm just asking for trouble.
Right.
But if I cry individually in front of each of them, every single one of them still, like, that's the thing. And that's my problem with a lot of, the narrative that's going on about, toxic men, and I know it exists, and I know it's real, and I know it's a problem. But it's just like, man, if you keep attacking men, they're not going to react well. And I know that's not fair. It's so unfair. It's so unfair in a world dominated by men where you have to pander them to a bit more. But I'm just telling you, if you look at it scientifically, if you attack a man, he will get defensive. And I know that because if you attack me on fucking anything, even if I'm wrong, my instinct is to go, that's just what it is.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's an instinct, and it's a shitty instinct, and it's horrible. Yes, we can discuss about how awful and why it exists for all we can discuss that for articles and days, whatever. But it doesn't change the fact.
Yeah.
And the fact is, and I'm just like, if you want to change men, you have to change the way you fucking talk to them.
Well, and you are kind of like ninja in your shows, especially this most recent one, Daniel Sloss X. You're like ninja-ing them. You're be like, it's a trick. Hi.
It's just because it's like I know the privilege that I have as a man and all the other privileges that I have. But I also have a bunch of privileges that plenty of other men don't have, like the privilege of class and where I was born and the type of family I was brought into, all these other sort of things that exist that, where they come from different fucking backgrounds. And they don't have the career I have, they've been unlucky as have. So, sometimes you're yelling at men being like, you don't realize how good you've got it. And yes, they don't realize how good they've got it. So don't tell them that. Like there'll be men out there who are working fucking 2 jobs a day, fucking 16 hours trying to fucking make ends meet to make their fucking family. And yes, because they're a man, they feel safer when they walk home at night. And because they're a man, they'll probably get promoted faster. But to that man in that fucking moment, he's working 2 jobs. Like he doesn't feel the privilege that he has. Mm-hmm. So when you yell at him and you go, fuck you, you're part of the problem. He's like, the fuck have I done?
It's like you're yelling at me from a coffee shop, you blogger.
Yeah, yeah. And again, and I'm not saying the guy is right. I'm just telling you how he feels. And I believe the way it has to involve all of us. Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking to fucking men, I'm making sure that I'm not attacking them, right? Because I could do, but what would be the point of it? I wouldn't convert anyone to the cause. I wouldn't make them think. Because when you yell at someone, you don't make them think, you make them react. If you talk to them and you explain and you give them the chance, instead of telling them how they should feel, telling them what you've gone through and your experience, that's how you make people relate. You don't go, hey, fuck you, feel this way because this happened. I go, hey, this happened to me and this is a conclusion I drew from it. And the person watching you will then either go, okay, I draw the same conclusion. Or they go, oh, fuck, okay, I never thought of it that way. Or maybe I think of it a different way. And then the conversation starts. You don't get to go out and tell people what the fuck or think they're how to fucking think. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think all the not all, but like a lot of the disdain towards male culture and men is obviously fair, but I'm just going, you're not going to, if your intention is to change things, right, which is what I want to do, you have to change the way you go about it. Yelling doesn't do anything. And it would be fucking great if it did. Man, I'd love to live in a world where yelling the loudest meant you won. Yeah. Right, because I'd be king of the fucking world. Sadly, it doesn't. Okay. Sadly, we have to go through these long fucking arduous things. And I know, and again, I say this as a man, so again, none of it fucking affects me. I get the privilege of saying on this side. I get all of this. It's just, that's why I make sure when I'm talking to the men in the room, I could easily make this show into an attack on men, but that would achieve nothing. If I turned it into an attack on men, there would be zero fucking point in it because the men wouldn't join in. I don't want it to be attacking men because I truly believe most men are good. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but from what I've seen with the men I speak to after the shows and the men, I think most men are good. And I want them on site. And it would be easy to write a show where I yelled at men and all the women in the audience clapped. But that wouldn't change anything.
How much of this is intuitive and how much of this has come from like maybe the last year or so of research on the topic?
It's more just the way it's not necessarily even research, but it's some of the way I've felt over the past year. Like, sometimes I'll see fucking posts from, comedians and left-wing people where they, where they'll just track someone and the thing will be like, all men are trash. And even me, like, even though I'm a comedian, another joke, I'm a man. And I'm like, oh, but I'm trying. I'm doing this show and I've been, I really am trying to be good. And when you still, and I know I'm wrong, and that's me being overly fucking sensitive. Of course it is. But I go, fuck, if I feel that way from the position I'm in, how much worse is somebody else another man who's not in my position going to feel when they read that tweet? And then it's a man that you say, and then you go, man, you're being too sensitive. No, men aren't sensitive enough. And you go, which one is it? Or is it both? Or is it, I don't know. I just, I don't want it to make it feel like if this makes any sense. This might just sound like I'm men's rights activist.
You make total sense. I think that one of the things out of the election was you don't know this, so you're racist. You don't know this, you're transphobic. You don't know this, you're a Nazi, right?
Ignorance is not the same as hatred. And for some reason, I think we live in a world now where people are going, Oh, they're misequating the two. They're going, you don't know this different. Like, I'm ignorant to I'm ignorant to a lot of fucking trans issues because I don't come across them.
Yeah.
And I don't have that many friends that are trans.
But some people would say, well, you could educate yourself on such a thing.
Yeah, I could, but like,
or is that the next show? I don't know.
Well, I could educate them, but where do I start the fucking education? Like, I don't want to start. I don't want to go to a fucking website and then suddenly work out that this is the wrong type of website to start with. I find it easier just in discussion and conversation. So I'll get less ignorant on trans issues when because first of all, I'm not going to comment on fucking trans issues or prove myself because my voice isn't necessary to the debate that's going on. Because you don't need to know my opinions on these things because my opinion isn't necessary. It doesn't help anything. I am telling you right now, I do not know much about trans issues, so therefore my opinion on any of them does not matter, and I should not be asked in my opinion.
But I think your opinion on it will only matters when you and I are talking to people like you and I. When we're talking to other dudes. When my buddy David Piccolamini, friend of the show, when we went to a bar after the show on Sunday, and we like talked for like about an hour and a half before we started working on roast battle jokes, which was weird. So we both had roast battle on Sunday night after this. So we're like, oh wow, that was really powerful. Now we gotta go. We were both battling women, so we were like, now we gotta figure out like creative way to call her a cunt. It's like, oh, this is weird. Yeah. But like we had like powerful discussions about gender and these topics, and they're things he and I already talk about. Yeah. But that's when these things are important. I think that's when your opinion and my opinion on these things matter. Granted, if you don't know about them, then you bow out. But like where you do know about toxic masculinity and you're talking to a mate who like maybe doesn't, I think that's when your opinion is of the utmost importance because they will trust you, like you've acknowledged, and not like the woman in the front row. Sadly.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'll start to, like, and you know, what will probably happen is I'll probably in my future I'll absolutely I'll cross paths with a bunch of people who are trans, and I'll talk to them, and we'll become friends, and then I'll be allowed to ask all my ignorant questions, and I'll be allowed to be like, okay, here's how I think, and they can fucking yell at me and we can disagree and all that stuff. But I'm also like, I'm ignorant of trans issues, but I also don't hate trans people. So I'm like, well, I don't really need to know much more. Yeah. Like, I'm not stopping them doing anything.
That's
like,
all we need is you just to not hate people. That's a bare minimum. I'm like
people like, I'm ignorant of trans issues. Why don't you get better at knowing trans issues? And I'm like, because none of my lack of knowledge makes me hate them.
Yeah.
Like I've got nothing against them. Like fucking, I get confused by the pronouns, but from the trans people I have met, anytime I have tripped over a pronoun, they haven't given a shit because they understand that it was, it wasn't malicious. It was a fucking slip of the tongue, or I was shit-faced, or, whatever fucking reason. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, until I don't need to have my opinion is that they're cool, but I don't know the rest of it.
Right. How you said your girlfriend's more a little bit more progressive, more left of you?
No. My girlfriend, she's about the same.
Okay.
Aye, she's a tiny little idiot, just like me.
Okay, so you sound like you have to go home and then like hear a lecture. That's okay. That's
no.
nice.
She's good. She's good to test stuff on and just going like, well, just my questions are always, am I evil for this thought?
That's I think the way comics should ask for feedback. It's like, am I evil?
Yeah. Am I
evil?
No,
that's pretty bad. I didn't ask if it was bad. I just asked, am I evil?
Yeah. Is this? Yeah. I'll just go, is this a shit opinion? She'll go, yeah, and I'm like, is it like evil and shit? She's like, no, it's just shit. I'm like, good enough.
And how's she looking like fitting into the jigsaw puzzle?
Oh man, it's very new. The one thing neither of us are fucking looking forward to. Well, no, it's absolutely fine.
I was genuinely nervous coming here because I was like, if it came up that I was started dating someone very new, I thought you were going to try to talk me out of that.
This is the thing that comes up, man. So again, as I've always said, Jigsaw was not a breakup show. It was a love letter to single people. I'm not against true love. I've never been against true love. I'm not against relationships. I am against the fake fucking relationships. And this is what I wrote Jigsaw 3 or 4 years ago. Obviously, it just came out fucking last year, and since I was about 24, I've been single. But even then, that was just that was the relationship I talk about in Jigsaw, where it was short and fucking awful and stuff. I've not been in a proper, actual healthy relationship since I was about 21. Which is about 7 years ago.
Was that was the one that spawned Jigsaw? Or
no, the 21-year-old, she was great. The one I had between 18 and 21, it was the one I had at 24. Okay. Was the
mindfuck.
Yeah, it was the mindfuck bad one. And I hadn't been in a relationship so wrote the show Jigsaw. But again, people just now I'm becoming the fucking breakup comic. I'm like, and I under people.
Well, you did ask people, hey, tweet me
Yeah,
if you
of
break
course.
up.
I'm not saying it's not grounded in some of my own fault, but I just mean in the sense that I understand. Like I know for a fact the second some fans find out that I'm in a relationship, they're going to cry the word hypocrisy, and I'm going to have to go watch the fucking special. And do you tell me at exactly the moment I said that love isn't fucking real, or that all relationships, you find me that moment where I said all relationships are bad, right? And I'll admit my head grew up. Then you find what I actually said was that 90% of relationships are bullshit, and that you should wait until you find someone who makes you happy and does not make your life difficult. And at the moment, as I've said it's early, I appear to have found a person like that.
How long's that been going on?
I mean, it's very. It's very.
Did you meet her
very,
yesterday?
No. Yeah. We've known each other for a while, but it's a slow, ongoing thing. You know, I've been burned before, so I'm a fucking slow person in sort of each. I don't know, man. Like I've not been in a fucking proper relationship since I was about 20, and that was a 20-year-old relationship. So that doesn't fucking matter. I don't, the transition is going to be weird, but she also doesn't. She's very cool. She doesn't seem to care. Okay, about she not care that makes her sound honest, but I just mean in the sense that she's so easygoing. Like, I've clearly still got like some issues from my previous relationship, but I didn't mean that. And she was like, even if you did, why would I care? And I'm like, oh, I didn't. It's like that John Mulaney line. I don't know if you've seen it in this new special, which is like, I didn't realize that relationships were meant to make you feel good about yourself. And watching that line, I was like, I fucking relate to that a bit too much.
Have you talked to dudes after the show, after doing Daniel Sloss X, who said that they had at least pivoted, changed, moved somewhere on the spectrum from what they saw?
Well, to be fair, I don't think it's I've spoken to a bit. Everyone seems to enjoy the show. You know, I've spoken to both, male survivors and men who are in a sort of similar position that I was with, their closeness to the scenario. A lot of it. So I just want to open the fucking discussion, man. Like, the best shows for me growing up, the ones I always loved, were the shows that you laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed, but they did make you think about things.
Carlin,
Jim Jeffries, man. I would leave Jim Jeffries shows and I'd be like, I'm actually thinking about, people like even Mike Birbiglia, Tig Notaro I'd also throw in there. And there's, even fucking Chappelle, so many, the comedians I love most are the ones that they make you fucking think about ideas and stuff. And I like comedians that like Bill Burr, where I don't agree with everything he says, but I think about everything he says and I understand it. And even when I disagree with him, I'm still laughing at his comedy. I like that. And I want to do that. I want people to be able to sit in my shows and go, I disagree with you on certain things, but still enjoy the show. And I also, want them to be able to talk about the difficult things. I think the only reason why any subject is taboo is because we don't talk about them. The only reason everything has power is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We go, we can't talk about that, so we don't talk about that. And then the power of it becomes more and more and more and more and more and more. Whereas if you just fucking talk about things, it's like people that get offended by fucking swearing. I'm like, did you realize that if you stop being offended by swearing, swearing wouldn't be offensive? Yeah. It's only offensive because of your reaction. And the only reasons taboo subjects are taboo is because you're all reacting badly to it. Whereas if we all just sat there and we admitted that some things are fucking awful, but they still need to be discussed, and they have to be, because otherwise they'll keep happening. It's just like, what happens over that side? What happens beyond that fucking curtain? Oh, well, people get murdered. Oh, well, let's just stop sending people across that curtain. No, maybe let's do a bit more fucking blurration. Let's go in with a bunch of fucking people, a bunch of torches, and see why. Instead of just being like, that's that forever, and it's always going to be difficult to deal with, so we never will. Right? Which is for a species that has gone to fucking Mars. Right, our ability to fucking explore, like we're still trying to get down to the fucking Marianas Trench, we're trying to get to other fucking planets, we're willing to explore the galaxy, but most of us aren't willing to explore our inner emotions. I find that incredibly counterhuman.
Yeah, and that you recognize like how men can explore those emotions. Like I said, it's not something I get to hear often from men. I hear about men from women, and it's
men are like this, men are this, and we'll stop. I know this is hypocritical because comedians also go, women are like this, but it's just go, I'll tell you how men are, and let men tell you how they are. Like, it's one of the old tropes that all men are fucking stupid and we're bad with their emotions. It's like, no, I don't think men are bad with their emotions. I just think they're taught to deal with them differently. I don't necessarily think different is wrong. Just like for years and years and years, I fought against crying, right? It wasn't something my dad instilled in me, but there was just something, I've seen my dad cry before. For some reason, part of me, just who I was, felt like crying was weak. Like, I didn't like it. I think it's because I felt vulnerable, or it showed people that something had affected me. And so it was an inner sort of strength thing. But, it took me until I was about 22 or 23 until I became fucking comfortable with crying. That being said, I still don't want to do it in front of people. I still don't want to do it in front of my friends. I don't want to break down in front of my girlfriend or my parents in these moments and stuff like that. I prefer going to a corner to cry, or if I do cry, it's very stoically one tear to the fucking... And that's also fine. If that I'm not a fucking monster for going, I don't want to be like, oh my God. And it's, men deal with their emotions differently. And yes, sometimes they deal with them wrong. And the way they deal with their emotions come out as violence or toxicity or all these other bad things. But you don't get to fucking sit there and be like, dads are being given a fucking hard time because, they don't cry at their daughter's ballet recital, or he's like, but he's still proud. Like, how fucking dare you tell him how he reacted was wrong because it's not as open emotionally. I don't want to be open emotionally all the time. Like, I like keeping stuff close to myself. I don't know if that's a man thing, but it's a my thing, and I won't apologize for it. I won't be...
I think it's a defensive thing. I've seen men and women do the same thing.
Yeah, but it's also, why is it... First of all, why does it have to be defensive? And as it is, why do you give a shit? Like, if you're fucking poking a hedgehog and it crawls up, who's the dick? The hedgehog for not letting you fucking poke its belly, or you for continuously poking the fucking hedgehog. Yeah. Leave it alone. It's dealing with its fucking problems.
Yeah. It is interesting here, just like, because you say you grew up with friends and with guy friends, and I grew up with like no guy friends, mostly raised with, like, even in college, I was hanging out with all women. I wasn't fucking these women, but like I was hanging out with these women, and that's how I came up. And so just the way we talk about emotions are similar, but like I can see how we got there from different ways. I find that very, interesting.
Yeah. Oh no, I do. And again, it's we don't have to agree with each other. I always say, my comedy is just the conclusions I've arrived at from the experiences I've gone through. Now, you'll have gone through different experiences to me, and neither of us are wrong. No experience is wrong. Like, and sometimes it's arguable, the conclusions you draw from them can be fucking wrong, but nobody can tell you your experiences didn't happen. I'm just curious to understand why people arrived at those conclusions, because I'm either you arrived at your conclusion wrong, or, more terrifying, I arrived at the wrong one, and now I have to question my own thing. I just think, I think we're all closer than we fucking pretend to be. We just like, we like this us v them thing. It makes us feel superior, and the reason it makes us feel superior is because previously somebody made us feel inferior. And the only remedy to feeling inferior is feeling superior. And that's what human nature is. Yeah. It's this horrible bit of social retribution we go through.
Whether you want to be made superior in your opinions on all this or not, I'm sure after people see Jigsaw and Dark, if they haven't already, and after they see Daniel Sloss X, I mean, they're going to be like, this is the ally. This is the guy. And are you going to be there being like, no, not me. Just
don't... No. Because for me, it's an ally to who and an ally to what, and what am I saying? I'm just going to keep being who I am. I don't want to be, when I was 21, I was that male feminist that would just tell that I would explain feminism to women. I was that one. That was me.
Really?
Oh man, it was a horrible little fucking nightmare.
I wish I had known that 40 minutes ago.
Yeah. Oh man, I was a proper. We read 2 books by Caitlin Moran, and suddenly thought that I was the fucking spokesperson for all fucking women. And it took. It didn't take that long. A bunch of my guy friends fucking called me on it immediately. A bunch of my girlfriends fucking called me on it immediately. And I was like, oh fuck yeah. And then I can't remember which one of my friends said it, but it was very good. She goes, if you have to tell people you're a feminist, you're not. And I was like, oh fuck, that's dead. Cool. Okay, cool. And then I just stopped. So yeah, I it's hard. I don't want to throw myself into any fucking camp or whatever, because camps mean different things to different people. People have, different people, the word feminist means different fucking things, and there are different types and stuff. So it's, it's hard to, when we just the blanket. Oh yeah, I am an ally. I am, like, I want to fucking support people, and but watch my stand up and you'll know what I fucking believe in. Right, that's that, and unless I don't jump to conclusions from it, don't speak on my fucking behalf, and don't look into too much what I say. Like, there's as I said, a lot of opinions in progress, and I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again, and that's absolutely fine, and I'm allowed to be. And I will not be fucking held up to your standards that you create for me. I'm going to stick to the standards that I set for myself. If I fail your ones, those are your problem. You, like, it's in the line in Jigsaw, just like, I failed the fantasy that you created in your head. That's not a fucking me issue. If you made me something in your head and I failed you, I didn't fail you. You created this fucking illusion of what I was. I'm going to keep doing right by myself and right by the people I love.
Right on, man. Right on. Daniel, where can people find you? I know you're doing the show, Daniel Sloss X, and you're taking around the States a little bit more before you bring it back over.
Yeah. So we're doing a little tour now in March, and then there'll be another one in July, and then there'll be another one next year in about May or June. So all details will always be on danielsloss.com or on my Twitter and Instagram, which is just Daniel Sloss.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for talking to me, man. Wow. I just want to thank Daniel Sloss for coming on the podcast, making time for me. That was just really fantastic. And also, hey, a shout out to my guest co-host during the intro, Rosa Escandon, everybody. Thanks to both of them for coming on the pod. And again, if Daniel Sloss's tour, which I think has since been retitled as Daniel Sloss Now, if he's coming through a city near you, go check it out. You're going to want to say, hey, I saw that before it was on Netflix. It's that good. Okay, I think it's still danielsloss.com. For me, it's manwhorepod.com for all your Man-Whore podcast needs. You want to sign up for the mailing list. You want to get some merch. You want to become a member of my Patreon community. You can find it all through there. Want to send me an email? Let me know what you thought about this week's episode. Love getting your emails. Send your comments, send your questions, send your booby pictures, send your Man-Whore podcast branded dick pics to manwhorepod@gmail.com. Have you been thinking about planning a trip down south this year? Come on, 2019. Hey, we're gearing up for another election soon. You're going to want to de-stress a bit and go down to one of those wonderful, beautiful, clothing optional, couples only resorts. Hint, hint, wink, wink. All the things you think it is, it probably is. I'm just not allowed to advertise it as such. Desire Resorts. Of course I'm talking about Desire Resorts. Remember my, earth-shatteringly awesome trip there back during Labor Day with Kenzie? You can go there too. Highly recommend. Go to manwhorepod.com/desire and take a look at their resorts and cruise options. And when you book your stay through manwhorepod.com/tour, Billy gets a little on the kickback, on the back end, which is very nice for Billy. And you like Billy. You like doing nice things for him. Oh, gosh. And if anybody just wants to go with me, we can negotiate. It's that great of a place. Next week, looking forward to sharing with you Kendra Sunderland. Ooh, the one of the OG library cam girls. Because she was put in handcuffs to fight for your right to masturbate in libraries while webcamming. I look forward to catching up with Kendra next week. But until then, everybody, stay slutty.